Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's podcast. It's always a favorite of mine to record because this is the snippets episode of our Travel Tech Audio Summit. So you're going to get like a few minutes out of each interview from this year's Travel Tech Audio Summit here today. Now, it's really just going to be a bite size, like 5 minutes or less of each of them. Each full-length interview is about 30 minutes. Some are closer to 40 minutes. So if you really want the deep dive, I cannot encourage you enough to head over there. You're going to want to head over to sign up for that. It is complimentary. You just head to the show description and it should be one of the top links to sign up for the Travel Tech Audio Summit. In other fun news before we get started, if you are an email subscriber, make sure to check out my email today if you haven't already seen it. There's a lot of good goodies. If you didn't know, it is my birthday month. And if you didn't know, it's a really big birthday month because I am turning 40 this year. And so I've got a couple fun offers to help celebrate that. So take a look if you've been wanting some one-on-one time or at least like my eyes on some of your things. This is going to be a great opportunity for that. And if you've been eyeing the cruise content library, there is a sweet offer waiting for you in your email. These are going to be exclusive to my email subscribers. Just as a cool thank you for being an email subscriber of mine. I really appreciate it and like being in on the know. And if you're not, what are you waiting for? That is the place to be, or one of the places to be. The other place to be, obviously, is here on the podcast. So thank you so much if you haven't already subscribed. Now, if you're new around here, you don't know the tradition of this snippets episode. So this is the 4th annual Travel Tech Audio Summit. Like I mentioned, if you sign up for this year, it is complimentary, but you get access to all other years. So all other years are going to be including things like Social Jet AI. We've got Find Travel. We've also got Turn. We've got Travify. We've got Shaka Guide. So lots of really great pieces of technology that really make you look like a bad booty in your travel business. So this year's speakers are no less. It is such a really cool lineup. First, I'm really proud that it is the most diverse lineup that we've ever had for Travel Tech Audio Summit. Second, I feel like all but maybe 2 technologies were created by travel advisors just like you, either directly by them or tech teams that they do have. So let's get into a couple of so I'll announce like all what you'll be hearing about, and then we'll go in one by one with a quick snippet from their episode. You're either going to hear a little bit about their technology or something about like their philosophy. These were all like really fun and interesting conversations. So obviously I can't pack everything into like these short snippets, which is why you need to hear the full thing. So first up, we're going to have Hannah from Possible Co., which is a CRM option. Next, you're going to hear from Steven, who's the founder of Nomad Pay. If you've ever questioned like how much you should charge for your planning fee, you definitely should tune in to the full Nomad Pay episode because it's so cool. Then we have a booking platform with CEO and co-founder Justin Bossy. Next up, we will have Terminal, which is kind of like having your own set of AI agents for your business. I have co-founders Nodar and Kim up to talk about Terminal. Then we're going to head on over to TA Trip Tracker with founder Tara, who is a franchise owner actually in the travel industry. If you are one that likes to have millions of Post-it notes or you travel around with lots of folders with client information, that one is going to be for you. Then we have Rocket Place, which is if you are a little bit more independent with your travel business, you're going to really want to take a look at Rocket Place, especially if you do a lot of like premium luxury travel, work with a lot of DMCs and tour operators. And then last but not least, we have Journey Views founder Tim. And it is another really cool CRM option available to you. All right, so first up, we are going to be talking with Hannah, so let's get to it. The technology is a tool, but you have your own system outside of the tool. You're using the tool to execute what your system is. And I feel like sometimes travel advisors like get that a little confused. Like they think they need all these either like templates or flows or they need the steps already. And I'm like, but you already know what you're going to do, or you already know what you think you should do. That is your system, and you should just be tweaking and updating that until you get it like perfected, which I feel like that's always just as life as a person, but also like as a professional, you're always learning how to make things a little bit faster, a little bit more frictionless for your clients, a little bit more frictionless for yourself throughout the time. So I feel like that was a really great example because if you didn't already have that process mapped out, you wouldn't have been able to create it for the tool.
Absolutely. And that's really where I think my experience as a travel advisor has really helped in building the tool. I'm not a
Right,
software developer that now has decided to enter the travel space and then
right,
figure out how a travel advisor works. It's the other way around. I was a travel advisor that had systems that worked for me, and I was like, okay, the tools aren't supporting my process.
right.
Now, so let me figure out a system and a tool that will support how I do business. And of course, I do a lot of the systems that I've built are based on mine, but they're completely customizable. So
Hmm.
if you don't want to follow up with somebody 3 times, you only want to do it once because that's just your personal preference. Great. You want to follow up with them 5, that's fine. You can tweak the system
Right.
to change it to fit your business. You can change the colors, the template, everything is customizable because that's how powerful Go High Level is.
Hmm.
But for those new advisors that are like, I don't even know where to start, I don't even know what my system is, I've
Yeah.
also get created it so that you have that system in place. You can use
Right.
mine until you figure things out. Like you said, as we go in our business, we were like, okay, no, this didn't work, or I didn't like how that email sounds, or I've been using this particular supplier, and I need to add another email for them because it's specific to them.
Right.
You can customize it.
Nice. Okay. I also want to get into your onboarding because I feel the way that you onboard people into Possible is total, like, I don't think I've heard anybody else kind of like onboard people onto their CRM like this. So let's dive into that a little bit and what that looks like and feels like.
So, first of all, for your listeners, one of the things that I offer initially is just a free automation and AI audit. So,
Okay.
we're just going to meet with you to talk about, okay, what are you currently using? What are some things that you can automate? What are some ways that you maybe can use AI to make it more efficient, to really stop some of those leaks around your leads or your communication to help you make your business more efficient? Once we've done that, we then, and you decide, hey, Possible is a good fit for my business. It's a good fit for plugging up some of those leaks. And you sign up. I offer an onboarding call and we talk about, okay, what are your business priorities? Some people do email marketing wonderfully. Well,
Hmm.
then let's not mess with that right now.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the parts that are going to really move the needle in either making your business more efficient, growing your business, getting more clients. So
Hmm.
if that's your social media marketing, well, let's set up that part of the system first. If you're overwhelmed with the communication, let's set up your universal inbox. So I walk them through on that onboarding call of really getting to know their business and figuring out what parts of their system they need to build first to get that impact that they need for their business. And
Okay.
then so that's what we cover on the onboarding call. We also have weekly calls where it's just an open line. If you've got questions that you can then come on and ask, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. So they can, okay, let me show you. So we have a tech person or support team that's there to handle some of those questions just as it comes. So we're making sure that we're available because we understand how overwhelming it is to not only set up software, but move software
Hmm.
and then make the software work for your business. And so we want to make sure that we're getting to know our clients and helping them customize it for them. So they're not, there's that overwhelm isn't there.
So, two really cool things that I want you to notice from this conversation with Hannah. One, how personal and like the personal type of support that they built at Possible. I there are so many like really great CRM resources that are out there. I don't think many of them do like almost this like white glove one-on-one onboarding with you, which I feel like really sets Possible apart because it is so customizable and they want to make sure that you're able to customize to exactly what your business needs. So, really cool number 1, and then number 2, I don't know if you heard that she had a free guide. And how do you get access to the free guide? You've got to be signed up. So, what am I gonna say? You got to head on over to the description in the podcast to make sure that you can tune in to all of the episodes. Because I mean, Hannah has a free guide. Other people also have like exclusive promotions or exclusive like trial periods just for the Travel Tech Audio Summit. But all of that is included inside of each episode that is in a completely separate podcast feed. That the only way that you can get access to it, because it is not a public feed, is that you get your own private link. And so that's what happens when you sign up. Let's head on over to Voyager with co-founder and CEO Justin now. Also, huge thank you, Hannah, for joining us this year on the Travel Tech Audio Summit. Is there one like competitive advantage that you would say Voyager currently has over some of the other systems? Like not naming any of the other systems, but I mean, I feel like one of them is that you guys are self-funded. That's very unique when it comes to the industry, but is there something else that you think is something that you guys do really, really well or very different than others are?
I would say the self-funded, like you mentioned, but I would also say the transparency
Yeah.
portion of it. The Pretty much every early advisor gets connected to me directly, and can talk to me at any point if they have any issues with the platform. They can call me directly.
Yeah.
We're As I mentioned earlier, we're trying not to charge a large fee to it.
Mhm.
And we do make money other ways in the platform. So we're charging a small monthly fee
Mhm.
to, keep our infrastructure and everything going. But, we're not charging you $100 a month to go and, use our platform.
Yeah. I think that is so huge, especially like when I go to look at technology partners. Transparency is such a big thing. Like, one of the platforms that I host a lot of my events and programs on, I believe they're also self-funded. I don't think that they have any like capital investment, but they are so like boots on the ground, like close by to their users listening. Like I just got tagged in something because they want to add a new feature and they want to know like what my personal thoughts, because I had spoken up about something, are on that technology. There's another like an email marketing software that I've been a member with for like at least 5 years now. And they're always like over communicating kind of like what's happening, what's changing, if there are any changes. So I think that that's so valuable because like if you're not doing that as a tech platform, you are giving the users, and especially on this side, the travel advisors, such a big headache. Like, and people are leaving because of that.
Yeah, and sometimes getting support from some of the platforms is lacking.
Yeah,
You may get a response in a day or two or a week.
right.
So we try to, every our live chat feature that, is in our support function goes directly to my phone. So, if
Wow.
our AI can't answer your questions, because we have a big knowledge base of
Mhm.
answers, but if it can't get an answer, it connects directly to me to my phone. So I try to respond as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But back to the transparency part and Voyager. We are new. We
Uh-huh.
are a new self-funded startup. So there are things that are going to break. There are
Yep.
things that are going to not work. But the vision, if you're willing to work with us, give us feedback and stuff, the platform will become more valuable in the long run.
Right, right. Because that's, I know that there's the one of the technologies that I was talking about, I adopted in early and was able to like get really one of those really great rates at the beginning. And like you get so much access to the founders of the companies when you're one of those people that kind of goes all in. So I'm a huge proponent. Like if somebody wants to go in all in on Voyager, you're gonna stand out just from that aspect. And then the more that you're able to give feedback and the more that you're able to like use the piece of technology, the better that it becomes for you because you just have to be vocal, especially for tech founders. Huge thank you, Justin, again for joining us on this year's Tech Summit. And if you didn't hear I'm not sure if we like included part of that, but Justin and his team at Voyager are looking for 50 founding travel advisors to help give them the like boots on the ground, the nitty gritty, sometimes dirty feedback that might happen as a startup comes to life. Because like I mentioned in that little snippet, I'm a huge fan of like technology that has been self-funded. A lot of the technologies you're hearing about this year are self-funded. I feel like there's definitely an edge to kind of like growing little by little and also having autonomy, not having to really lean in on investors or do what the investors are saying. So definitely if you want to get into that, head on over to the Travel Tech Audio Summit feed. And in the show description on the feed, you'll see the link where you can find out more details. It is super duper incredibly affordable to join as a founding advisor and join their advisor group that they have coming over there. All right, next up we have Nomad Pay with founder Steven Scott. Let's get into it.
Yes, so just saying I should be charging for my services, understanding what that means and
Yeah.
why you are making that thought in your head, is something that Nomad Pay addresses. It coaches and guides you on what you should say, why you should be charging fees, what those fees should be.
What?
It guides you. It says, here's what we recommend you communicate to your customer on this particular booking. And the information you're entering in, it will start to guide you and say, you know what? On average, this is how much you should charge for your services to plan out this type of vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And it will then help you facilitate that process via Stripe and support that data going from the point of charging all the way through into your accounting system so that there's a connection between what you want to do and what actually happens.
That's insane. Because I feel like that is the biggest question that everybody has. Like, I feel most people are already sold into, like, yes, I'm going to charge fees.
Mhm.
The question there becomes like, what am I going to charge? Like, how much should I charge for this? And like, I have my own personal, and everybody has like their own personal feelings because like, I think most people charge like by trip or by person, like a flat fee.
Mhm.
Whereas I know there's also like membership type models, like annual fees. And then I've also heard like some travel advisors charging hourly rates. And part of me is like, I feel like maybe everybody should start charging hourly rates just to see exactly what their time's worth. Because I might say like you should start at 250 for a fee, but then the amount of time that you've spent on a certain booking way outweighs like what that 250 is. So,
Right.
let's dive into like that. Like, what are your personal thoughts on fees and charging them?
Sure. So, our business, our travel agency, we are split. So we are 40% corporate, sports, and entertainment.
Mhm.
And then the other portion, you could say, is leisure. So, within those two different areas, you have a number of different clients that are anywhere from a mid-level price point to a luxury level. And then on the corporate side, you've got this kind of keyboard constancy that you have to deal with as far as charging. You're not going to charge a lawyer $250 every time you book an airline ticket. You
Mhm.
won't have that client very long, right?
Mhm.
Because you're going to be booking for him constantly.
Mhm.
And so But then there's the family that's going on a vacation once a year that you're going to be doing 3, 4, 5 months of planning, sometimes a year's worth of planning. That has to be a different pricing model. And
Right.
so, what Nomad does, it helps you to be able to select a couple of options along the way as you're entering in the data to start to
Okay.
say, this is the type of client, this is the type of trip, and this is what you have charged before. And it will then recommend to you, here's the pricing model for this particular client and or this particular trip. And so then at that point, you have a recommendation. It'll say, this particular trip, you should charge $275 because on average, this is what a travel advisor would charge. And then if you
Okay.
decide, you say, you know what, $275 sounds good, but they can't do that right now. How do I do this as a subscription? You click a button, it'll break that down into a subscription. You send that link off to the client, they process the payment wherever they are, and now you've got a subscriber. And
That's
so,
crazy.
yes. So either the guest can say, you know what, I'm going to subscribe at $25 a month to this service until my trip completes, or I'm just going to pay up front the 275 and be done with it. But it facilitates that. It gives you that support, that recommendation. So you go from zero to hero very quickly, and you feel good about what you're doing and your interactions with your guests.
I hope you can tell how excited I was to learn about Nomad Pay. I feel like it's one of those ideas that it's like, one, I wish I had created it because that's so ingenious, but also, moreover, I'm like, those are like the no-brainer things that I don't know why we haven't thought of this as an industry before. So it's super cool to see something like this is alive. So super huge thank you to Stephen for sharing more really great conversation. So definitely have to tune into the full thing. And I know that there is an exclusive promo just for the Tech Summit. All right, let's go ahead. Who are we moving on to next? Da, 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 da. Let's talk a little bit about AI and AI agents with Nodar and Kim, co-founders of Terminal.
A cool thing about all of our agents is they will provide you the source that they found their information.
Okay.
So if for any reason you feel like that might not quite be right, you can always look it up yourself and you can click on the link and it'll can like read through and make sure too. So that's really nice.
Okay, cool. So Jussie and Fiona, who's number 3?
So number 3, it's a balance, okay? So we have Alfred. I like Alfred and I like Jet. It's one or the other. So Jet is our air car hotel specialist and Alfred is our multimedia marketing director.
Don't say his full name. His name is Alfred Pierre.
Okay.
It's so
Because
Right.
she wants to
Pierre.
be special.
Alfred Pierre. Sorry. But yeah,
he's French Canadian, by the way. Imagine that. He's French Canadian,
That's
which is hilarious to me.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
I mean,
love
they
it.
all have their little, gems when talking to them, and
Mhm.
that's kind of I can't really pick my top 3 just because like I like them all. They're like my babies. I made them. I programmed them.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of like the background of programming, because I know like the biggest like about AI right now is that like if a consumer went to like ChatGPT or Claude, the accuracy of the information
Might be a little wonky,
might be accurate, might not be
possibly.
accurate.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you do it generically, it's kind of like up in the air, and if you
Mhm.
choose to trust the AI, you might have an interesting experience.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So for us, like our entire platform is only travel advisor facing.
Okay.
That said, it's supposed to help you do your research with your clients. You keep that personal touch as well. Our platform does not automatically do anything for you when it comes to like sending emails, posting on socials, making video content, making photos. The reason why is because we still understand that the travel advisor still needs to have that personal touch with
Yeah.
their customer. And on top of that, like it's also a safety net too of like you get the final say. Like you're the boss, you get to look at everything and say this is approved and I can send it out. Like I can use
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for your like the cruise and the land and even like the air, like there's hundreds, there's thousands of like different suppliers. How are you, I guess, both of you like working on making sure like you have all of the information? Like I'm even thinking specifically when it comes to like smaller DMCs or tour operators or like hotel representation companies. Because like when I see a travel advisor like using Terminal, it sounds like they're going to use it like in the very beginning stages of like when a client comes to them, they're planning, and then they might go to like the individual companies or suppliers to get like the nitty gritty. Am I
So
thinking that
yeah,
correctly? And then
yes and
also,
no.
yeah.
Yes and no. So what our goal pretty much was from the beginning, how do we make this system easy to use, right, for travel advisors? Because
Right.
again, we would love for travel advice demographic to go down to below 50, but for some reason it doesn't. Everyone who's a travel advisor, majority anyway, it seems like they're 50 and above.
Uh-huh.
And I know there are host agencies making a real effort in bringing the younger generation into the business.
Right.
So I don't want to say we want to be on the forefront, but we want travel advisors now to use our platform, not travel advisors 10 years in the future, right? So
Right.
wanted to make it as easy as possible for people, for someone who is, 55, 60-year-old to log into the system and start using it.
Mhm.
When it comes to when they use it, you can actually use it both ways. When you're brand new, you have no idea when to start and actually help them do the research, or help them help you to do the research, or for our platform to help you do the email and social media posts and whatnot. But when it comes to the suppliers, we have put in all of the major bigger suppliers in our platform
Okay.
already from the get-go. If there is a supplier for some reason that is not on our platform and our travel advisor or our end user is using, they're welcome to give us the supplier, and then we will put them on the back end. We do that on a constant basis because we do have some advisors who use specific suppliers who they cannot find any information on our platform. Like, hey, I use ABC Travel. Can you put them? Can you put them on your platform? Yeah, no problem. It's literally takes us 2 seconds to do.
Thank you, Nodar and Kim, for joining us and sharing a lot more about Terminal. If you thought the Tech Summit was boring, hopefully you have listened. That we have a lot of fun talking all things technology, and not only like just technology, but also how do you operate? How does this fit in with how your workflow works as well as a travel agency owner? So lots of really great things, and I believe they have a really great trial offer for Terminal if you wanted to test out some of their AI agents, which I love that they're already pre-built on the travel industry. And it seems like not only that, because Kim has some marketing background, some of the marketing AI agents in there might be super helpful too when it comes to creating like your own creative marketing. All right, now let's get into a little bit more tracking with TA Trip Tracker. And we have founder Tara coming on to chat all about that because this is a really, really neat tool.
That's where the real beauty of Trip Tracker comes in, is because it's going to move it manually through when's their final payment, who's about to sail or travel, who's actually traveling right now. So like if I'm going to go somewhere, I'll take a look real quick. Who's traveling? Mm-hmm. So if my phone rings and I know that it's Mike Smith, I know he's traveling. I know I need to answer his call right then.
Okay.
If it's somebody else, I know that they're not traveling. So it takes over the system and gives you a 6-month follow-up, a year. And then also, the other thing that I think is pretty cool is, those people that say, I want to go to Africa in 2028. Mm-hmm. Or when you see a great deal for Italy, let me know. So there's a future trip. So you can put all of those people in there to keep track. So if you have a down day, or if you see Africa comes up and it's super a great deal, a $20,000 trip that's 7,000. I don't know, I'm
Uh-huh.
making something up.
Yeah.
You can go to that future trip and who wanted Africa and follow up with them and
Yeah.
send them the deal. That's just part of it, but
Uh-huh.
yes, that's how
Yeah.
the trip works.
Yeah, because I feel like this is complementary to having like a CRM because I know CRMs sometimes can be a little sticky where there's not as much flexibility with due dates. Like due dates are based on the trip, whereas like some due dates that you might have aren't based on the trip. And some due dates are a little bit different depending on how early or how late somebody has booked their trip. So like is Trip Tracker kind of built in with some of this like flexibility? Like you can put any dates and any items that might be due or coming up?
Yes. So on the
Okay.
trip itself, you're going to input the final payment date. You're going
Okay.
to input the trip start date, the end date. So maybe they're going on a cruise, but they're doing 5 days prior.
Hmm.
I know many a times it takes that cruise date and not the flight date or something like that. So you as the advisor are putting all that information in,
Hmm.
and then on your tasks, I believe the bon voyage or not the bon voyage, the review is 45 days
Okay.
prior. So it's just automatically going to tell you 45 days prior, hey, why don't you just review all of the details of this trip? 6 month follow up is going to come 6 months after that date. So everything's date driven, but you're inputting those dates.
Okay. Now, I know a lot of people are like, especially if you're new to the industry, kind of like, I don't know what's supposed to happen when, I don't know where I'm supposed to go for all this. There's workflows that are already built into Trip Tracker that you can just adjust based on how your business operates. Yes?
For the main workflow is set up, but the tasks and some of the other things are adjustable.
Okay.
And in the future, that's coming soon to where it will be more flexible. What I really wanted with TA Trip Tracker is to have a turnkey. We're
Hmm.
all busy, and none of us are in the IT business. Or maybe we were and we're no longer. We're choosing the
Right.
travel business. So there's a reason why we're here. So other systems and things I've tried were just a little too complicated and took too much time, and time is money. So I wanted Trip Tracker as turnkey as possible so anybody, and in fact, I actually had my best friend who has nothing to do with travel. I gave her a trip and said, here. I didn't give her any instructions.
Hmm.
And she was able to input the trip and looked and was able to figure it out.
Thank you, Tara, for joining us on the Travel Tech Audio Summit. This was a really cool one for me because we gabbed on a lot of like the operational process, and I may have inspired a possible new feature that may be coming. If you want to hear more, you've got to listen to the full episode. Tara also has a Tech Summit exclusive promotion to the first 50 advisors or agency owners that take advantage of it. So I'm just saying, you should probably be on the full feed if you haven't already tuned in. Now let's get on to another great conversation with Riva of Rocket Place, which is super cool because our names are almost identical. I have a T, but she has a V. So, and yeah, we nerd out a little bit about that at the beginning of the episode. You won't hear it in this snippets one, but let's get into Riva and Rocket Place.
Rocket Place is actually the entire business infrastructure in one platform for
Okay.
independent travel entrepreneurs. And
Okay.
so it's this operational backbone that travel professionals can plug into, and it gives them the tools, the community, the infrastructure. We're talking payment processing, trip quoting and design with negotiated rates, the supplier network, the whole shebang to operate the trip seamlessly for you. So it's exciting because it lets the travel advisor focus on what they love most typically, which is not all the admin and logistics, but instead the client relationships and the trip design itself.
Yeah, because it sounds like, because you mentioned community as part of this, and
Yes.
I heard suppliers. So I
Hmm.
feel like almost like maybe this is the best fit for like people who are doing a lot of like independent trips and working with a lot of like DMCs, tour operators, rep companies. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
glad that you mentioned that because it
Okay.
is for a specific niche of the travel market. So
Okay.
it's designed to support more premium, higher end custom trips that where you would want to be working with a DMC supplier. So the network that you're tapping into is just that, a DMC supplier network that's integrated. And you're going to be able to design custom trips based on exactly what your travelers are looking for. So it's not necessarily like the generic, it's more premium, tailor-made type travel. So if that's your niche,
Okay.
then this is going to be really, really interesting for you as a travel advisor.
Okay, because I feel like that's kind of like an edge above over some of the other like similar-ish but different products because I feel like that's one of the hardest things like when you're brand new into the industry is building those relationships. And if some of that's already built in, that I always like to say it's like a fast pass
It
that like
is.
it helps you streamline things a lot quicker.
Yeah, it might sound kind of like cheesy, but it is an all-in-one solution
Uh-huh.
because it's letting you tap into all of the operational and logistical aspects that you need to run a business seamlessly so that again you can focus on the leads, the client relationships, and your expertise around the destinations for the trip design. And we're giving you everything else that you need. So it's an app at the core
Okay.
that uh, takes you through the workflow. So it's a client finance management app, but within the app, you can design the trips and quote them within minutes because there are preloaded services for all of the different DMCs that we're partnered with already there within the app. And then if you want something that is not there for whatever reason, because you've got something very niche, then you are in direct connection through the network to speak to them directly, get a specific tour quoted, add it into the app and build it into your template or your itinerary. You can create all of your templates yourself that are unique to your brand and
Okay.
have them at your disposal. So it can be very signature to your unique brand, and it is
Uh-huh.
branded for you. It has your brand front and center from start to
Okay.
finish. So that's for the trip itinerary that you share, as
Uh-huh.
well as when the client arrives on the ground, they will see your brand. So you're
Okay.
basically, what we are doing for you is powering your work. Hence, we call it powered by Rocket as like a tagline that you would
Mm.
have. But it sits below your brand. That's front and center.
Thank you, Riva, for joining us on this year's Travel Tech Audio Summit. Something else really cool that came out of the conversation, remember, only 5-minute snippets. We got really creative with like group ideas. So I've been sharing something that I've been doing a lot. We nerded out on astrology, but also astronomy. So we were kind of like ideating lots of really like niche, unique types of group trips. So if that is your thing, definitely listen to the full episode for Rocket Place. If you didn't know, I mean, we keep saying Rocket Place, and I'm sure you're thinking rocket ship, which accurate, but also rocket is spelled with an I and not an E. So just fun little fact there for you if you did not know and this is your first time hearing about Rocket Place. Well, it is time to come up to our last snippet, which is still a really great one. Many of you had requested to hear about Journey Fuse, so I have founder Tim with me on this very last snippet. So let's get into it.
I heard a lot of things, AI has been a big thing, but people are going, man, I don't want AI to do all my everything, trip plan,
Right.
you know, it's like, I, and so like we really are conscious about like, hey, we want to be fully use AI as travel agents and advisors, but how do we do it in a responsible way where it helps us, it saves us time, and makes our jobs easier,
Hmm.
but we're still in full control of everything a part of our workflow.
Right.
And so, as we kind of built from there, as we kind of grew, January, February, and March, and we launched officially on March, kind of the beginning of March, and kind
Nice.
of grown since then. But we looked at every piece of the system. So from leads, we built in our system to handle forms. So whether
Okay.
you're a solo advisor, just to yourself, you can use the system just to yourself easily, just to manage all your stuff. And whether you're part of an agency, maybe an agency wants to have a form for all their agents and they can actually round robin these forms to any agent or dedicate them to a specific agent. They all go into the leads. From there, like, how do we do a proposal? And so, and I'm going, let's use AI here to help people in proposals. And so,
Right.
a lot of times people go into different websites, for example, like Disney, you grab three different vacation packages. You have the hotel, you have the price, maybe you have their ticket package there, and maybe the photo pass and a bunch of things. Let's just make it easy. They can just screenshot those three packages, upload it into our system, and we actually train our AI. So it's not just extracting information from it. We actually train the AI to go, okay, now grab me more images of the Polynesian, grab me more pictures of this,
Ah,
grab Google reviews, grab what is, the questions people ask about that is what's the transportation from this hotel? It's not in that quote, but it goes in there and actually discovers more. And we build it in, so it's constantly getting smarter because a lot of times AI is not perfect, right?
right.
But when things are correct, we lock some things into our system so it knows, and it adds things in from our database. It adds things in from AI. So it kind of combines us all, adds in great pictures. And so literally within 3, 4 minutes of actually just sending this thing, you can actually have a beautiful quote that's better than what people have seen customers for them to go and just click and for you to send the client to click and go boom, and they're actually reading about the resorts. They're seeing different pictures. You can add your own pictures. You can remove pictures. So
Okay.
it's very powerful, but we try to make it simple too. There's a lot of systems out there that are incredible and powerful that are awesome. But I go, if you just want a system that is beautiful and yet powerful, that's kind of how we designed it from the beginning
Hmm.
to the end for all those different things. And so, and I can keep talking about the whole process, but I go, we generally use, that mixture of that, of going, how can we use AI, even commissions, right? So you
Hmm.
get an email back from a supplier going, here's your gross commission amount. You upload it, it actually extracts that and puts that into your trip for you. So when the trip is done, you're not searching for that anymore, because it's
Okay.
actually already embedded into your side of the client. Through that, it's like we have an app on both the App Store and actually in beta right now on the
Wow.
Android store. Android actually is a little bit tougher to get through their app review process. We have to have like 20 beta testers. And so if anyone watching wants to help me beta test this, we would
Yeah.
absolutely love it because we just need to have enough people beta testing it through the process. And then
Right.
now that should be released shortly in the next couple of weeks as well. But those are for the client side. So your clients actually get a custom app. You can view the itineraries offline. So you can be on the airplane looking at the itineraries. You can see your packing list. If you have 5 trips with a travel agent, they can see all 5 of them.
Okay.
So it's just very much the app is really designed for your end client, but totally optional. And that's the beauty of it is you don't have to use any of that stuff. You can just simply go through the site and just use as much or as little as you want.
And another big thank you to Tim for joining us at this year's Travel Tech Audio Summit. It was really cool listening to Journey Fuse and how he thinks about tech a lot differently than some other people that I have heard from before. In that, like, the last thing that he says, or the thing that he says right after I cut him off, because we don't have endless time here, is that they don't like gate anything, and they don't have like tiers. Like everything's just all included at one price. So it's really super duper simple. There's nothing about being locked in, and it is a super easy process if you did want to move over CRMs to join into Journey Fuse as your CRM. So they also have a promotional offer for you. So just head to the show description inside the Tech Summit feed and you'll see it all there. Well, whew, I'm so glad that this was under an hour because normally these are pretty long because of these snippets. But I am so glad that you have joined us. I hope that this was super helpful, either finding new technology that you're interested in trying or just seeing what's out there and also thinking about your travel agency a little bit different. Let me know who you were most excited to hear about. And if you did tune into the full summit, there is a survey that you can take, really quick survey. Just let me know what your feedback was, what your favorite episodes were, and then also let me know who you would like to hear on a future Travel Tech Audio Summit that will come out around this time again next year. So huge thank you for being here, everybody. Cannot wait to see you in next week's episode. It's actually the last episode before I take my birthday-cation. All right, have a wonderful weekend, an amazing week, and stay tuned for more goodness.